Hi and welcome to the channel. Today we are going to take a look at the life of Ponyboy Curtis from the book and movie The Outsiders. Ponyboy Curtis walks from the movie theater one day. He is followed and jumped by a group of Socks, the rich gang from the other side of town, who threaten to cut him up. Ponyboy struggles to escape the Socks' clutches and gets cut in the process. Now facing the very real prospect of dying, he shouts for his brothers and is rescued by Derry and the rest of his gang, who chase the Socks away. Derry asks Ponyboy if he is alright, to which Ponyboy, though in reality shaken up, answers yes. Soda Pop runs to check up on Ponyboy and makes sure he is okay. Then the rest of the greasers return and the seven chat for a bit. Ponyboy makes plans to go to the drive-in with Johnny and Dally the following night, and then the greasers part ways. That night, Ponyboy lies in bed awake, recalling his encounter with the Socks. Soda Pop tries to convince him that Derry indeed cares for Ponyboy very much, which Ponyboy does not believe. Soda Pop then shares with Ponyboy his plan to marry Sandy, his girlfriend. Soda Pop falls asleep and leaves Ponyboy awake to wonder. The next day, Johnny and Ponyboy meet up with Dally at a lamppost, and the three goof around for a while before heading to the drive-in. The three sneak in and sit down behind two SOC girls, whom Dally harasses until Johnny tells him to back off. Dally storms off, and Ponyboy and Johnny befriend the two SOC girls, named Cherry and Marcia. 2-Bit joins shortly after and likewise gets along with the SOC girls, particularly Marcia, who gives him her number. Ponyboy and Cherry become comfortable with each other and discuss the social class situation between the Socks and greasers, a situation both find unfair. After the movie, the boys offer to drive Cherry and Marcia home in 2-Bit's car, but their boyfriends, Bob and Randy, respectively, show up and claim their girlfriends. Bob and Randy insult the greasers, which causes 2-Bit to take out a knife. He busts the end of a bottle off and hands it to Pony and challenges the Socks to a fight. Randy and 2-Bit talk over each other, but Cherry doesn't like fights, so she and Marcia just decide to go with their boyfriends to avoid any trouble. Cherry tells Pony that if she sees him at school and ignores him, to not take it personal. A while later, 2-Bit parts ways with Pony and Johnny. Pony and Johnny go to an empty lot where Johnny sleeps on a regular basis, since his parents abuse and neglect him, but Pony accidentally falls asleep as well whilst thinking of his parents and the countryside. Johnny wakes him, and he returns to his own house. When he gets home, Derry yells at him for staying out until 2 in the morning. Soda, Derry, and Pony argue and Derry ends up hitting Ponyboy. Immediately after, he is filled with remorse and says that he didn't mean it, but Ponyboy runs off, finds Johnny, and they run to the local park to cool off for a bit. While sitting on a play structure, they notice the blue Mustang from earlier pulling up. The Socks are the same ones, Bob and Randy plus others who arrive. Johnny recognizes Bob as the one who attacked him prior to the beginning of the story. Pony and Bob insult each other before the Socks runs after Pony and Johnny. First they drag Johnny to one side and kick him, then they take Pony to the fountain and keep his head under water for their enjoyment and satisfaction. Pony starts to lose air and passes out. Just then Johnny gets up and, not knowing what to do, draws his switchblade from his pocket and stabs Bob, killing him almost instantly, and the other Socks run away. Even though Johnny's action in a way was justified, since the Socks could have killed Pony, and Johnny run knowing those who are charged with murder in Oklahoma will receive the death penalty. They run to Buck's place where Dally is attending a party and ask for help. Dally tells them to get on a freight train and hide in an abandoned church on J Mountain near Windrixley. He gives them a loaded gun and money to buy food. He then sends them off saying he'll check on them after a week or so. Johnny and Pony cut their hair as to not fit the descriptions printed in the newspapers, and Pony dyes his blonde. Dally visits them a few days into their stay in Windrixley, and they go out to eat at a Dairy Queen, during which Johnny announces his intentions to turn himself and Pony into the police, to Dally's disapproval. Dally drives them back to the church, only to see it has caught fire. Pony jumps out of the car and runs into the church, and Johnny follows him. Several school children are missing, and Pony and Johnny break through a boarded-up entrance and rescue them, but Johnny's back is broken by a flaming piece of timber that falls from the church's roof. The back of Pony's brown leather jacket catches fire, and Dally hits him hard enough to put out the fire, but intentionally knocks him unconscious. Pony wakes up in an ambulance, and is later reunited with his brothers in the hospital. For the first time, Pony realizes that Derry does care for him, and that he's only strict on him because he wants Pony to have a good future. The next day, as Ponyboy is cooking eggs, 2-Bit and Steve arrive, 2-Bit grabbing him by the waist and spinning him in the air, causing him to instinctively grab the pan and drop the eggs on the floor. Steve refers to him as a blonde-headed monkey, and asks what it's like to be a hero, showing him the newspaper article about how he, Johnny and Dallas saved the kids, and how the Curtis brothers didn't deserve to be split up after everything they've been through to stay together. Daryl, Steve, and Soda leave Ponyboy at their house with 2-Bit. They later see the dreaded blue Mustang following them, and several Sox, including Randy, exit. But this time, the Sox aren't looking for a fight. 2-Bit insults the Sox while Ponyboy talks with Randy. The insults are so loud that they interfere with the conversation and force the two to talk inside the quietness of the Mustang. Randy reveals that he's finally had an epiphany on how pointless the fighting is, and how he doesn't have a good feeling about the Rumble. This provokes a rather interesting thought within Pony. He thinks about how Bob would have just kept on fighting if Randy died, and whether Steve would be like Randy or Bob if Soda died. He realizes what Cherry meant when she told him that things are rough all over, and has a realization that the Greasers and Sox face similar problems, despite their differences in economic and social class. Later, 2-Bit and Pony visit Johnny in the hospital. He asks for another copy of Gone with the Wind. 2-Bit runs down to the gift shop downstairs to buy it, and Johnny passes out shortly after the nurse says his mother was there to see him. He angrily states that she probably just wants to come down here and tell me about all the trouble I'm causing, and says that he doesn't want to see her. He passed out soon after, and the nurse is given the book by 2-Bit, who asks to make sure he gets it. Johnny's mother is outside, angry that her son would rather see these no-good punks instead of his own mother. A furious 2-Bit begins to berate the small woman, before being pulled away by Ponyboy. They visit Dally, and he asks how Johnny's doing. Upon being told that he isn't doing well, he asks for 2-Bit's switchblade, and says that they have to win the Rumble for Johnny. They see Cherry, who confirms that the Sox will fight fair as long as the Greasers do, no weapons. 2-Bit thanks her, and Pony talks with her. She says that she couldn't visit Johnny when Pony asked her if she would, because he killed Bob. She knows Bob asked for it, but she reveals that there was another side to him, like Randy said. He was sweet, and he was different from the others. Pony is angered by this, and says that they don't need her charity, but realizes when he's about to walk away that she was about to cry. He stops, and Cherry says that she just wanted to help, and asks if he would help her if he could. He asks if she can sunset real good from her side of town. She says that she can, and he says he can see it from his side of town too. The Greasers go home, and prepare for the Rumble. After leaving the house, Derry warns Pony and Soda to flee from the scene if the police showed up. He and the other Greasers will get jail time, but Pony and Soda will get sent to a boys' home. Dally arrives suddenly at the Rumble, causing the Greasers to be distracted and allowing the Sox to land the first blows. Pony is outnumbered and knocked to the ground, being beaten by multiple Sox. Dally takes him to the hospital following the defeat of the Sox, and Johnny dies after telling Pony to stay gold. A crying Pony is left alone in the room after Dallas storms out after pleading Johnny not to die. Pony gets home, and is immediately asked by Derry where have you been, but Derry recognizes the despair and grief in Pony's face, and asks him what's wrong. Pony informs the gang of Johnny's death, and says that Dally couldn't take it, and that he's gonna blow. Dally soon calls the Curtis phone, and tells Derry that he's just robbed a store, and that the cops are looking for him. He asks the gang to meet him in the park, but they are too late. Dally is surrounded by the police, and draws an empty gun from the waistband of his jeans after screaming "You're never gonna get me alive," being gunned down under a streetlight. A look of grim triumph struck across his face as he crumpled to the ground. Pony faints and falls sick for a whole week, and attends a court hearing regarding Derry's guardianship over him. It is ruled that Pony will stay with Derry. At school, his English teacher Mr. Syme tells Pony that he's flunking, giving him the option of writing a theme based on the events of the past few weeks in order to pass the class with AC. This theme is revealed to be the story that becomes The Outsiders, and it starts with, "When I stepped out into the bright sunlight, I had only two things on my mind: Paul Newman, and a ride home."